What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Out of the Park Baseball 26, where we're joining you from the first-year player draft here in 2031. Our Pirates have the best record in all of the major leagues this season at 67-27. We're looking to defend our World Series champion status. A couple of other teams sort of near our ballpark, but we're going to turn our attention to the future here today. We're going to handle the first-year player draft. Last I had left you, we kind of reviewed all of the available options on camera. Sorry that went a little long. I was watching it back and I realized, like, when I record these after work, I'm a little bit fried and I kind of misspeak a lot, and I was just, having a hard time getting through all of the players. So appreciate you sticking through that video. Like I mentioned, we're going to actually do the draft today, and I think we're going to advance through the All-Star break together, possibly all the way up until the trade deadline, just to kind of set us up for next video to finish out the regular season. I think that'll be a nice plan. So I don't want to waste too much more time. I've done some, thinking, some reflection off camera, and, we had a number of players we were considering here with our first pick. Obviously, we're picking in pretty quick succession here. We got 38 and then a couple of supplemental picks. So we can kind of try to game plan this a few different ways, and ultimately I have decided to go with the batter Dave Chavez first overall here. I think he is the safest pick. It was really between him and Elliott Hagan, and I'm just more comfortable taking Chavez. Something I did want to mention, though, I had sort of toyed with the idea of potentially playing him at third base, and then I realized that he throws left-handed, so it's pretty much a non-starter. You would never want someone who throws left to play third base. I kind of didn't realize that when I was talking to you in the last video, so he's pretty much penciled into first base, corner outfield, which I think is fine overall, but just really love his plus contact profile and think the gap power can play well. He is slightly above average in home run power and eye, so I just think he's the best option available. It's not necessarily the most flashy pick, but I think he'll be a good player for us, someone to bring into our system with the great personality as well. And then I'm sort of thinking ahead to these next couple of picks. I think we could go with one of our pitchers there, and then we could possibly look to grab our scout's favorite player, Elijah Johnson, as well. So, I'm not really too concerned about bringing Johnson in, even though he is viewed as our, top available player from a talent perspective. I just think we're fine at catcher. We don't need to reach for him. I'm not dying to have him on the team, but he would definitely be good. So we're going to try to snag him with maybe one of the supplemental picks. We'll see. But let's go ahead and draft our guy here, Chavez, first, and get this thing kicked off. So we'll just do the next couple of picks live, I think, on camera. So there we go, Dave Chavez. He only wants 1.8, so we're actually underslotting here. So maybe we can get some steals later on in the draft. But the outfielder from Bryant University will join our team. We are going to meet his demand of 1.8 mil. And the draft is officially underway. I think we can push him to A-ball right away. I'll jump back in on him one more time. But I think we can push him to the Florida State League right away, and he can just, get some good work to finish the season down there. Obviously, personality is really good. Love the combo of work ethic and IQ, even though the leader is a little bit low. Still think he'll be a successful player for us, just newly turned 22-year-old. So that is our first pick. We'll see if Elliott Hagan is on the board for us as we go here. It looks like Tommy Gruber is the favorite pick here of the Mets. We'll kind of see which of our guys go and who's available for us at supplemental 6. So let's go here to the Mets. They do take Tommy Gruber, and it looks like Elliott Hagan will go to the Guardians here. So bit unfortunate. I liked Elliott Hagan, obviously. Right-handed second baseman who has outfield flexibility, like corner outfield flexibility, brings that plus power, but it's hard for righties to hit home runs in our park. So really the 65 grade tool here is probably not being best utilized in Pittsburgh. So ultimately kind of the deal breaker for him, plus his lack of, being a plus defender. So it looks like he will go here, and he does. Arizona is favoring Austin Cooper, who we didn't really look at. I mean, he honestly looks pretty solid. University of Arizona. I'm not sure why he was not originally on my radar. Maybe just the lack of power, but everything else projects to be very plus with him. Maybe just not as well-rounded as Chavez. So he will go to Arizona. New York is favoring Mike Morris, who is a contact-first second baseman. Taylor Novikov appears to be the pick here. And he looks good as well. He has that plus gap power, just the 35 raw power there. But out of Oklahoma, great competition level for him, just a 55 grade. So Seattle will go there, and we are back on the clock. So all of our pitchers are still available. If we go to our draft pool here and look at the starters, we still have high school arms, Edwin Nunez and Toby Hughes. We have college arms, Greg Mykowski and Seth Iverson, both available. And a couple guys further down the board. But as far as batters go, we are still looking at Elijah Johnson, the catcher, near the top. He is not projected to go until the second round, so we could risk it and leave him on the board. I do like Brandon Wiley. He's probably my favorite high school prospect just because he is so well-rounded and brings that work ethic, fielding, committed to Georgia Tech. I think that's a good sign. So if we were going to go high school bat, maybe we go him. Just a premium infield position. Think he could play all three spots, second, short, third. But I think we're kind of going to go pitcher here. I've already, normally I break to go off camera and kind of deliberate before, but I've sort of already decided I want to take, I think, all the relievers here kind of crowd the board, but I like Seth Iverson. He's not projected to go until late, and I'm concerned about his competition level. So if we're going to take a chance on him, I think we can wait to do it. So we're going to, hold off here. It would really be between Mykowski and Ryan Jerome. Just to refresh your memory, Ryan Jerome is the power pitcher who's touching 100 with the great combo of personality traits. His downfall is that the control may be, it might slip, and then his pitch mix is really kind of unfortunate where he's just kind of a two-pitch guy. So he's not a perfect prospect by any means, but he does have a great competition level from NC State. I kind of think I would rather take the chance on Greg Mykowski. He also has good work ethic, and he's a bit older, but similarly, we can push him straight to the A-ball level, and he should thrive. He's really kind of a movement control specialist here. So an archetype we don't normally go for, but St. John's is a good competition level. I feel pretty confident in his ability to succeed. So even though he's not great at holding runners, I don't think that's a major deal breaker. 55 stamina on Jerome, Mykowski 55 as well. So let's get a little bit weird with it here. Let's go Mykowski and see who's available on the clock next. So I'm not even sure the best. We'll go back to the sortable list here. And there's our guy. We'll drag him down. Now he wants 2.2, which is a little closer to slot value here, but still going to be saving a bit of money, so maybe that helps us down the road. So, let me know if you agree with these first two picks. Again, I don't think it was the best, strongest draft this year, so we're kind of just making do with what we have, but we're going to go ahead and meet Mykowski's demand at 2.2, and he is our supplemental pick. So let's see who ends up going next here. It looks like Pedro Segovia, the, I think, Puerto Rican outfielder, Smoke, was projected to go very early in the draft, had one of the higher bonus demands, so that kind of turned us off of him, but he looks to be very good. Seattle is favoring Murdoch Hickey here. And they do go with Murdoch, who is another Canadian prospect, so a poor competition level, but love his glove, his speed, his contact, gap power, but, don't love the power eye being just at a 40. So let me kind of deliberate here. This is the one where I knew I wanted to come out of it with Chavez and Mykowski. Now I kind of need to apply some more critical thinking here, but stay tuned for what we decide to do. All right, y'all, we've reached a decision, and it is not going to be the catcher, Elijah Johnson. I just think that, we've taken so many catchers, we have such a surplus in our system. He's definitely good. If he lingers to our next pick, we'll, scoop him up. But here I am willing to get a little more risky with it, and I found a high school infielder that I'm pretty keen on. He's actually viewed pretty highly in the eyes of Pipeline as well. And he's like a player that, I think we looked at previously. It's Brandon Wiley. So, he brings good work ethic, can play all three spots, most likely a third baseman given the, strength of arm and limited range. But 19 years old, pretty developed for a high school player. 1.6 mil bonus demand, committed to Georgia Tech. I think he's really well-rounded, so kind of like his profile as a potential third baseman for us down the line. And I think we're going to go here. He's projected to go in the next round, so it would be, wise of us to take him now if we want him. The catcher, Johnson, is projected to linger, but again, I'm not going to be super bummed out if he does end up going. So we're underslotting another pick here. So we're going to actually be able to roll over quite a bit of money to the later rounds should we choose. So we're going to go with DL as our third pick here, and we're going to meet his demand of 1.6 mil. And see what he can turn into for us. So welcome aboard to Brandon Wiley. And, I had considered, it looks like Ryan Jerome is going to go with this next pick. I had considered him, but I was just so turned off by his pitch mix. I just didn't like it. I know you can be successful with, fastball changeup, but he has nothing with break, and it's just kind of scary. So that's why we didn't end up taking him, but we'll have to monitor his success throughout the minors. Let's go ahead. There's going to be quite a few picks in between us here, so I would not be surprised if Johnson does go here. But let's take a look and see who is on the board with our next pick. And he's still there, so that's awesome. This is going to be a tough call because I also really like Toby Hughes. I'll, have to go off camera here to make a decision, but I'll show you Toby Hughes. You can remember he's the high school left-handed pitcher, 6'6", 205. Not the best personality, but workhorse stamina, great at holding runners. Already pretty far along with his tools, like his stuff and his pitches. Great pitch mix from the left side too. He is a pretty strong prospect here. The only thing that is maybe not fully along is his control, but he's just going to be 19 at the complex league. He's already viewed as a 55 grade kind of guy, so everything should be, he should be able to play and not be too terrible down there and just get destroyed. So he's definitely someone to consider here. Looks like he wants 950, but let me kind of skim through here. Oh no, Seth Iverson went to, who is that, Baltimore? They scoop up the Academy of Art pitcher. I was sort of back pocketing him for the next round, hoping that he would stay on the board. So we miss out on Iverson. Really pretty good pitch mix. It was just kind of a question of the competition level, and felt like we could leave him on the board, but apparently that was not the case. He was not projected to go until the 5th round, I want to say. So a bit unfortunate there. I'll show you the mock, and you can kind of see there are still a couple of players who have lingered. I was looking at Sam Keating, so unfortunate that he goes. There are still players we like. We still like Sid Shue. We like Josh Fluharty. Obviously, the catcher, Elijah Johnson. Pitcher, Edwin Nunez goes, it looks like. We obviously took Majkowski and Wiley. Tom Lepic goes. Ryan Jerome goes. So, we still have some pitching talent. We have Andy Shabbat here. And like we mentioned, Toby Hughes, who is projected to go, I guess, in the 4th. But, we know not to trust the projections anymore. You can see Seth Iverson is the only player drafted that was originally projected to go in the 5th round. So, bit of a bummer he didn't last. So now I guess we just need to decide if we want to go with the catcher here or someone else. So let me take a look. All right, guys, we've kind of gone back and forth between Johnson and Hughes, and ultimately I'm just going to bet on our scout being right here with Elijah Johnson. I think, we took a catcher very early in the draft last season. I want to say his name was Isaiah Shelby, and he's kind of fallen off in the eyes of our scout, but, Preller's not the best scout at guys in the minor league, so, this is to be expected. But we took him in the 4th round. Ultimately think he kind of fell off, losing, going from a 60 grade potential down to a 45, which, kind of always happens when guys get pushed to the minor league level and start getting pro experience. But, I don't think he's stopping us from drafting a 75 grade catcher here, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So we're going to bring in Johnson, who is, again, under slot. We'll see if Hughes lingers on the board with our next pick. If so, then he will be, I think, maybe an easy choice there. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Johnson, meet his demand, and boom, there we go. So we've actually saved quite a bit of money. Let's go ahead and simulate to our next pick and see who ends up going. But before I do that, I'm going to take a look through here, make sure none of our other targets go or have gone. I mean, Ryan Jerome, Andy Kane went right after one another. Venegas looked good. There's Nunez to our division rival Cardinals. And I guess I'm starting to see some of the relievers go too. There are a lot of quality relievers here, so maybe we look to kind of sneak a reliever in too. I think that could be interesting. But let's see who we have here. And yeah, now our scout is suggesting a reliever, so that makes me think that Hughes is no longer available to us. I would not be surprised if he went very early. Yep, he went to San Francisco at pick 4 there. A couple of other relievers, Sid Shue, an outfielder who is just 20, I liked. Looks like he goes. Josh Fluharty goes. Donovan Johnson goes. Donovan Johnson is a hilarious build because he's 5'9", 165, and his nickname is Satan, which is obviously awesome. Just a fastball slider guy, but good stamina, hold runner. He's kind of like a sick reliever, just average movement, however. But the combination of the measurables and the nickname is really funny. But unfortunately, he will not be joining our team. So let me dive in. Obviously, we view this reliever as godly, but I don't know if we're going to end up taking him or not. I'll take a look at what's available here and come back to you in a sec. All right, guys, I've taken a look at the board, and I think this might be a little bit of a surprise pick for you. Obviously, we'll take a look at this kid at the top, Mike Hibbs. Our scout views him as an 80 grade and a 30 overall currently as a high school pitcher, and he's tremendous looking. He looks insane if all of this were to pan out. Just a fastball changeup guy, but good IQ, throwing 100 plus. Obviously very well equipped to step right in at rookie ball and handle business. I think he can be, at least passable both ways there. But he's kind of far away, right? Just a high school guy. I was looking at the reliever market, and I actually found someone I like better who I think can factor in for us more immediately. And it is Jesus Perez, who is actually under slot again. He only wants 410, and he's a lefty from UConn. So he's much further along, also touching, triple digits, has a lot more stamina, and is really good at holding runners. And fastball, curveball are his 2 pitches with just the normal 3/4 release slot. So he's, less susceptible to splits. He's very even both ways here. And his ratings relative to the A-ball level look pretty good. So I think bringing him on as a potential, long-term piece could be awesome. If that's in our bullpen, great. But if he, somehow rolls a third pitch, maybe we could even push him to be a starter. I don't know. That's a little ambitious. But, of course, I think it's a little bit safer to bet on a college arm compared to the other high school guy we looked at. So we're going to actually go with Jesus Perez here and bring on kind of a high tier reliever with our 3rd round pick. I didn't really love any of the batters or the starters. If we were going to go starter, I think Andy Shabbat would be the move, but again, he's just so developmental at 17 and a half that he's going to get shelled at rookie ball, and then his potential is going to dip, and he may never recover from that. So this is a little more safe in my mind. So we're going to go with Jesus Perez here and meet his demand of 410. And I'll need to sort of tally up all the money that we have spent here. Although now I'm seeing that his offer was just 260 there, so I hope that was valid. I hit meet demand, and it appeared that he wanted 410. So I'm a little confused at how that rolled, but I'll need to figure out our finances and kind of get a count on everything that we've offered to this point. Andy Shabbat goes with the pick before us to the Angels, so that's unfortunate. Mike Hibbs, the reliever, also goes to Cincinnati. Dude, our division rival, of course, grabs the high school reliever. Some of you probably will not appreciate me passing up the 80 grade tools with him, but I just liked the 40 stamina of Jesus Perez as well. I think that was a major factor in my decision there. There are surely other players I was looking at here. I think Jeremy Hardwick was one. He was a 17-year-old outfielder that looked pretty decent. And Micah Douglas was the switch-hitting first baseman who we thought could potentially be shifted to third base. I was kind of hoping that he would be available with this next pick for us, and we could kind of look to take him. So sad to see he is off the board. Mark Mira is another pretty decent catcher. I know there is a good shortstop available on the board, and I'll probably show you him. He'll probably be one of our finalists here for the pick. But let me dive in and see what we're working with. Okay, guys, back on the clock here. It is the fourth round. We only got 2 picks left to do on camera, but we've actually not really spent much money at all this draft. Our total is only $6.5 million, so I think we'll likely look to overslot some guys in rounds 6 through 10 or so, and try to make this a deep draft, just quantity over quality draft, a volume play. So the pick here is going to be Larry Thurston, though. I had alluded to there being a good shortstop available. He is that player. He's obviously only seen as a 50 grade talent, but he is a college player. And I think he is a safe bet to just be a good option. There are, a handful of 60 grade players in the eyes of our scout here, but they're all high school prospects that are really far away. My favorite is probably Rob Mayfield, who I will show you. Again, just kind of above average at everything, not really a home defensively, right-handed, a second baseman, can't really play the outfield either. So, if he's there later, we can look to scoop him up, but I just want something a little more safe here. And as far as pitchers go, again, I'm not in love with anyone. These are mostly relievers. If we go to starters, there is one guy down here, Tim Peel, a college arm, who I have, identified to be okay, but I don't love him as much as this shortstop. So I'll show you Larry Thurston. He's obviously a, tremendous glove here. He's pretty old for the class, 22 and 2/3. So, kind of a non-exciting pick in that sense, but good work ethic and IQ is a good combo. Obviously, 75 range and 70 error is really huge. So, at the very least, he can, be good in our system and help our minor league teams win. I don't know if he'll be able to climb through the minors or not, but, the personality is in his favor there. So we're going to go with Thurston here. He was projected to go very soon in the draft, so we're going to meet his demand. It says 420 here, so we'll see what the number spits out here. And it does align 420 for Larry Thurston. So a lot of college players in this class, a reliever, shortstop, obviously Mykowski and Chavez at the top. Only 2 high school guys so far. So kind of changing our strategy here a bit. Let's go ahead and advance to our next pick. And Mayfield is on the board. So let me just double check that we want to take him. And then this will be the last pick we make on camera before I do everything off camera. And yeah, we pretty much feel like Rob Mayfield is the best available talent. Left here, he is a little overslot, but again, that is no issue given our draft to this point. Profiles as just a contact first second baseman, really. But think he has plus gap power, focuses on the essentials, pretty solid base runner, and OSA actually views him kind of like a good bit higher at a 70 grade with like true 70 raw power there. So if he is closer to this, we get a steal here. If he is closer to our eval, we still get a very solid player. So happy he lingered. We're going to meet his demand of 650. And that will complete our first, I guess, 7 picks here. So 7 new players in our system. Really exciting, obviously. I'm going to continue doing all of this off camera, and I will loop back around with any notable picks at the very end. All right, guys, it's time to close the book on the 2031 first-year player draft. As you can see, we've made all of our selections, and if I had to give my opinion of the draft, I guess as a whole, I would say this is probably my least favorite draft we have had so far in the simulation. So really not too good here. I felt like after round 10, it really fell off, so I don't think there are many notable players here. And it's unfortunate because we also had a huge amount of money allocated to the draft this season, and I was willing to overpay guys, but the talent just wasn't there for it. So we only ended up overslotting one player out of our remaining picks in the draft, and that is probably the most notable one to show you. That is Travis Moorer, who's a 19-year-old shortstop, but brings good versatility, can play the outfield as well as the infield. Great personality here, good work ethic, IQ, and adaptability. Righty hitter, so good gap power, would play well in our park should he ever make it to the majors. But, he was really the only guy who was demanding more money. I'll show you a few more players here. We did end up selecting Tim Peel, who is a college arm that I like. Good velo, stamina, good at holding runners. Not the best movement, but plus stuff. I think the control can be average. Starts off at A-ball out of UC Irvine. Great competition level, is durable, but his pitch mix is a little suspect. He just has 3 kind of fastball variations there, so unsure how he will turn out for us, but wanted to get another arm early in the draft for sure. Of course, we took Perez, but he's a reliever, so we have now, I guess, Majkowski and Peel. We also took outfielder Carlos Arias, and he's just kind of an average player, but has a really plus tool with the gap power, is a lefty outfielder with decent range and line drive hitter, so he'll be just at rookie ball, 18 years old, very far away, but liked what he was able to bring. Another pitcher here, Justin Mykrans. Captain Jack is a sidearm righty, so fastball slider. He's going to be, really tough to handle for right-handed hitters with that pitch combo and arm slot out of Arizona State. Great competition level, starting him off at A-ball where he ought to do pretty well. I think there's plus control and movement to unlock in here, so liked the opportunity to grab him, 35 stam, so another pretty high stam guy. And then I think maybe the last guy we'll touch on is our 10th round pick, Nick Rauch, who is a switch-hitting infielder, kind of balanced across the board, but, never know if he'll turn into anything really. Plus range, plus arm. Should be pretty solid. Just newly turned 18-year-old too, so a long way to go with him. Again, I felt like the back half of the draft was really quite weak. We got a couple more relievers, high school pitchers, outfielders. This guy, Mike Pacheco, is maybe somewhat close to a major league debut, but I don't know that he ever projects to be more than just a 4A player. So he'll get run at A-ball out of Penn State. Great competition level, a little bit older for the class. But overall, I think the draft was pretty week as a whole, like I mentioned. So we've got offers out to everyone. It's way under budget for what we have, so we'll be able to I don't know what we'll do with that money, but if we want to be active at the trade deadline, that's certainly a possibility. But let's go ahead and look forward. I'm going to get through the All-Star break in this episode, and then I'm going to kind of check the time and see how we're doing on video length. We'll go all the way through to the 17th here. At the major league level, things we're watching for, obviously, is who makes the All-Star team. But we have Finn McElroy dealing with elbow inflammation. Hopefully he can recover during that off week. And then we have our rookies, Weinberger and Goodall. Hopefully Weinberger can turn it around. He's kind of cold right now. But I'll rejoin you after we get through all of this, and we can take a look at everything together. Okay, let's go ahead and recap everything that happened in the last week. You can see we ended up sweeping the Twins here. A lot of offensive success, but won a couple of close games at the end. And we are now on the 18th. So I think we're actually pretty good on time. So looking ahead, I think we'll just go all the way up to the trade deadline. We'll end at the trade deadline, and that'll set us up nicely for next episode. But of course, we have news and events here. We've gotten a lot of our draftees signed. Still waiting on Mykowski to ink his deal along with Larry Thurston, the shortstop. They'll both go to A-ball level. But we got our main guy, Chavez, first-round pick, locked up. He's playing at A-ball currently, and a couple of other guys as well. I think Perez, the reliever, too, is locked up and playing at A-ball. So we have some All-Star announcements to touch on, obviously, and some Home Run Derby news. But you can see here that we had a couple of guys do really well. So I'll scroll through the AL rosters here. You can take a look. I haven't honestly looked at them that hard, so I don't know if there are any big surprises or not. But it looks like Sebastian Walcott's having an awesome year. Bobby Witt Jr., 4.4 WAR. I can see. But let's get to the NL. You can see the little asterisk on guys. Dan Beebe was the leading vote getter at starting pitchers. And then we also got Tyler August in there as a reliever. You know, he's been tremendous out of the pen, 66 innings, 1.16 whip, almost 9K per nine. Really strong, so glad he was recognized. And we also got a couple of position players. Tamar Johnson makes it at third base. He's having a real breakout season for us. It's criminal that Wyatt Langford would not make this, but he's kind of boxed out by Ellie, narrowly lost the fan vote to him, and Mason Wynn is the reserve pick. So unfortunate there. Edward Lantigua makes it, although he is injured, and Connor Griffin makes it as well, along with Brock Kettleson. So 3 outfielders, 1 infielder, 4, and then 2 pitchers, 6 total All-Stars for our team, which I believe is a high for the simulation. So funny, obviously, to see our bench outfielder make it, but to be fair, he is hitting 279 and has a 162 WRC plus. So Brock Kettleson gets recognition here. We may have to figure out how to start him in the back half. But I'm not really looking forward to that because that means, benching someone else. As far as the prospect game goes, just going to kind of gloss over the AL again here. Tony Granger makes it, our star pitching prospect who is knocking on the door somewhat, I would say. He still needs to figure some things out at AAA because he has almost a 6 ERA down there, and the whip is really elevated as well. So maybe not quite as close as his age would indicate. Javi Ruiz is the catcher here. Alexis Brania makes it at shortstop. And we also get Ben Small in the outfield. So kind of 3 levels there, right up the middle, catcher, shortstop, center field. To go along with the pitcher, all premium positions. The MVP of the prospect game goes to Kyle Johnston, who looks like a great player. Former number 12 overall pick in 2027. Big time power in his bat. 22 years old, playing at AAA. Looks like he is still figuring things out. Just got the call, it appears, up to AAA. At AA, was OPSing over 1,000. So really strong prospect here for the Nationals. Home Run Derby winner is Gunnar Henderson, beating out Christian Campbell of the Red Sox. You don't really think about Christian Campbell as a power threat, but I guess he does have 21 so far this year, pacing for 35. Gunnar, his stat line. He has 24, pacing for 41, and a 9-WAR season. So he's back at it again, looking to, I believe, defend his MVP. Yes, he is. And let's see here. All-Stars, the box score here. This is funny. It's cool to look at, I guess. Not much offensive production for our team. Termar got 2 hits and scored twice, I guess. But I thought it was funny how they handled the pitching, because Tyler August actually started the All-Star game. I guess from like a fatigue perspective, he was the manager's choice here. Threw a scoreless inning, walked 2, however. And then Dan Beebe got in there late and got kind of touched up. But hilarious that they wouldn't start Beebe. They started August. So the legend of Tyler August grows. I guess also up here in the box score, Brock Kettleson also scored. He walked. So shout out to all of our guys who were recognized there. We got Rob Mayfield, like I mentioned, and Chavez. I'll quickly show you him at A-ball. He is playing first base, and looks like he's just got a game so far. Tim Peel has got 2 starts and is pitching at a 2 ERA, so that's good. Perez, 13.5 ERA as the closer, so not ideal there. Still, obviously very, very early to see what we have with these guys. So those are the updates. We have Finn McElroy back. He is fully healthy. Robert Gasser will get this first game out of the break here. I believe against the White Sox. Yes, we start a big homestand here. We get Chicago, Detroit, Arizona before going on the road to San Francisco, where we always struggle, seemingly. So I'm going to, just jump ahead to the trade deadline here. I don't think we'll make any roster moves in the meantime. We're going to keep things as is. I'm kind of looking at Seth Weinberger and Johnny Severino. Maybe we can cycle them out around the trade deadline, look to call up guys from the minor leagues, or even potentially look for a rental on the trade block. I don't think that's out of the question. Oh, I almost forgot to mention one more change. I was taking a look at our pitching stats here, and I made a change at closer because I felt like, just from a skills perspective, Mateo was walking too many guys and just kind of melting down a lot. So we bumped Diaz up, who is, much better at limiting the walks and is, I guess, less risky, less subject to a meltdown. So we're swapping Diaz and Mateo in on the back end of our bullpen. And I actually did this prior to the Twins series, and it seemed to go well and work out because Diaz closed out games here, and I think here as well. So I'll advance, and then we'll take a look at stats and pivot our attention head to the trade deadline. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up here. You can see post-All-Star break has been pretty kind to us. A couple of sweeps. We sweep the White Sox and the Diamondbacks, get swept by the Tigers, which is a little bizarre, but have so far won in the first 2 on the road in San Francisco. So that brings us to 78-30, which is like a crazy good record. This is we're pacing for an insane win total this season. Actually 2 over our expected record, so we've gotten a little lucky lately. 17-5 on the month of July, good for our second highest win percentage, just behind our tremendous April, where we won 80% of our games. First in a bunch of categories here, not going to dive too deeply into these, but in terms of overall standings, we're still a good bit up on the Dodgers now. They've not really faltered, but it's more so that we've just been really hot. And in the American League, it looks like Tampa is kind of emerging as the top team there. Houston has actually overtaken Los Angeles in the West. So, a lot of guys playing super well. Wyatt Sanford, I think I accidentally called him Wyatt Langford earlier, which I almost do every time, but I have been good to not do that. At the All-Star break, I was complaining that Wyatt Sanford did not make it instead of Ellie De La Cruz and Mason Wynn. So my bad. Apologies to the Sanford family there. Beebe and McElroy have continued to pitch well, and overall we're doing really awesome. So I don't even know what we would look to add. We're obviously at the trade deadline, so something to think about for next episode. We have Jared Jones and Edward Lantigua due back in 2 to 3 weeks for both of them. Likely look to get Jones at least one rehab start, because considering it's kind of a severe injury. Lantigua as well, probably just 1 or 2 games down there to make sure he's good to come back. But the guys have sort of picked up the slack in the meantime. Seth Weinberger is really coming into his own after like a little bit of a short start, soft start. Post All-Star break, he's got the average up to 260, 15 ribby, 5 homer. Phil Goodall bringing that plus defense, 312 average, not really producing much in terms of counting stats, but he's a really plus defender for us. His fielding stats here at the major league level, good range zone rating efficiency, 1.5 arm value as well in left field. So, he's able to cover a ton of ground out there and play really well. Don't think he's necessarily at risk of being sent down or anything like that. I think we're just kind of looking at Carson Benj and Johnny Severino as sort of our weak links here. So Johnny, we like him, brings that good defense. He's a righty hitter, has that brings that lineup balance for us, but at the same time he's hitting just below average, 12% below league average in terms of his WRC plus. Lefty-righty splits. He's honestly better against right-handed pitching. He's just not hitting lefties, which is the reverse of what you would think with his attributes. So he's possibly a weak link. And same for Carson Benj, as I mentioned, who started the year really, really hot. Still a positive hitter against right-handed pitching. We've actually benched him against lefties. I don't think I mentioned that, but he is no longer playing against left-handed pitching. And, now, but on the season as a whole, he's sort of gone down to just a 91 WRC plus player. I'll show you his monthly splits here, and you can see, great March, April, May, June, and July. He's just fallen off a cliff. So he's like a really streaky player in his history or his time with us over the years. He's been just up and down, very volatile. So not sure what we're going to do here. A potential option would be to play him at first base, which he is capable of. And, that way we could cycle out Johnny Severino, bump Benj to first. Maybe Kettleson plays full-time in the outfield, something like that. I'll kind of have to think about it off camera a little bit too, but I'll show you the trade block as well. I think we're fine from a pitching staff perspective. I don't know that we'll look to add any arms, really. I think Burrows is the weakest link, but we're kind of tied to him. I don't think we can send him down. He has too much service time, so he would likely refuse, but he's been a negative WAR player for us. We'll definitely try to send him down when Jared Jones comes back, but unsure if we'll be able to or not. I think the bullpen has been solid, so no real additions needed there. So I think we would only be looking at hitters on the trade block. And if we wanted to just look at all bats here, I had it split for a righty, but we'll just go ahead and take a look at everyone available. Aaron Judge is here, which I would be interested in, but he is out for pretty much the rest of the year with a ruptured MCL. Obviously, I think he could be a great DH for us, but not sure the timeline aligns with what we're trying to do here. Brendan Donovan, Esteury Ruiz, these are players who are kind of just like I'm looking for a true hitter, somebody who can really get the WRC plus going. And, maybe that's Logan O'Hoppe. Definitely a plus hitter in real life. Here, just kind of league average, 101 WRC plus. So don't know that he's our guy. Also don't love that he's on a multi-year deal, so that probably removes him from consideration as well. I'm looking for more so a rental player here. And I think my favorite, Carlos Correa is here, but also has a torn knee ligament, 5 to 6 months, so he's no good. Looking for kind of right-handed hitters too. So, Jacob Berry's here. He's a switch hitter, but he's not producing at the majors this year, so I don't think he's our guy either. Elliot Ramos, I think, is the guy who is producing at the highest level with a 132 WRC plus for the Braves. In the final year of his deal, very plus well-rounded contact hitter, and brings a little bit of power as well. Decent slugging on the year. just on an expiring deal, and 80% of this contract is already covered by the Giants. So it's actually pretty team friendly, good splits against both sides there. The only thing that's giving me pause is that, he plays on the Braves, and if we go to the standings here, they're 3 out of the division lead in the East and, tied for the final wild card spot here. So I don't think it's necessarily realistic for me to poach something from them. So I'm going to look off camera at, teams down here, kind of the bottom feeders of each league, and see if there's anything interesting for us to poach. But I can't promise that we'll end up making any moves this trade deadline. We may just lean on our minor league system and try to use guys there to patch holes. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Next episode, we'll look to tackle the whole second half together and set ourselves up for another playoff run where hopefully we can recapture the World Series. If you have thoughts on the draft, definitely let me know. Again, I don't think it was our strongest in the series, but I think we tried to make the best of what was available. But I think that's mostly it. So take it easy, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video soon.